Chapter 5. Part 2. After the big fight, tempers calmed down and all the companies involved in the conflict focused on preparing as best as possible. Within Almera relations were cordial and they also shared common suppliers. In Demember things would be totally different. Agnoruk was a little overwhelmed with the promotion. He had never really commanded a large group of soldiers. He was used to fighting on his own or at most with a dozen warriors. He had no experience in great battles. The help of Gosberg, Kush, Arras and their cousins was very important, especially that of Arras, accustomed to the discipline of the legions of the Black Empire, gave him good advice, especially the essential thing was good instruction. So before dawn Arras would get up with Agnoruk to train and teach him the basics of military strategy. One thing led to another. In the end they met to celebrate a duel, as a revenge for the one they had in Demember more than a decade ago. This time they took it in secret. They both arrived at the armory in silence. This time they would have neither an audience nor an annoying Denka as referee. As they always chose wooden swords, with the real ones the risk was too high. They didn't talk, they warmed up a little before starting. When they were ready, they prepared. They were not surprised to see someone enter the armory and take a seat while lighting a cigarette. "How did you know this?" Arras asked the unexpected guest. "He knows everything that interests him," Agnoruk replied. The guest remained silent, he was too focused. The two half-orcs were on their guard. Some new unforeseen spectators entered the armory. Arian with his daughter in his arms who when she saw the little Denka wanted to go to his side. Gosberg immediately extinguished the cigarette. There were also Kush, Vanus, Silke and Abok. The two contenders looked at the spectators. It was impossible to hold the duel without an audience. Ariana began to smile at the faces Gosberg made at her. Agnoruk shook his head and the duel began. Arras was pleasantly surprised. Agnoruk had improved a lot in his technique. He was not so impetuous, he did not let his extraordinary strength now rule him, he was much more subtle, more aware that he had to wait for the right moment. You could tell that he had trained a lot in all this time and he didn't give him a chance in the fight. The first touch to the neck came after 2 minutes of rapier exchanges, a slight ribbon, a quick movement and a goal to 0. They were all impressed by Agnoruk's transformation. Vanus had already told them that the half-orc had nothing to do with the one who had left the company, the years of adventures had changed him. Gosberg had insisted that he improve his swordsmanship, it was the main reason for the journey to the land of the Kendalis and the kingdom of the Amazons. The second round began. Arras again had no choice and the prince, although married and with a daughter, had not stopped practicing his fencing, but he was no match for Agnoruk. Arras tried everything, low blows, headburns, dodging, unbalancing and attacking, but Agnoruk was faster, more agile and more skilled. He seemed to know his moves ahead of time and always had just the right action to counter his attacks. If his orc cousins had seen him fight they would have no doubts, Agnoruk would be a new Ashura. The duel ended soon. A subtle ribbon by Agnoruk, followed by a blow on the wrist of Arras who wielded the sword and to finish with an accurate rapier on the neck. Everyone was silent in awe. Even Ariana looked enraptured at the winning action of the duel. Agnoruk let go of the wooden sword. Vanus began to applaud, as did Kush, Silkeri and Abok. Then Arian and Ariana joined. Arras went to congratulate Agnoruk. "It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Worthy of an Ashura." "It is nothing, my lord." Agnoruk bowed his head. Arian looked at them in silence. Although Agnoruk had not been raised with the White Orcs, he still honored him as a king, despite now being a warrior far superior to Arras. While Arras was showing her age, now she had a well-groomed beard that already showed some grey hair. Agnoruk was the same or even looked younger. It was a subtle detail, but the divine inheritance did not go unnoticed by the expert eyes of the priestess. The duel had lasted much less than the previous one. Kush and Abok were frankly impressed. "You had told us how much it has improved. but I didn't expect something like this," the magician commented. Gosberg smiled slightly and turned to both of them. "You haven't seen anything. The day he accepts who he really is, no one will be able to stop him." The outcome of the duel was kept secret for a long time. It was of no interest that it was known that Arras had lost a second duel against Agnoruk. Although it is true that the rumor of the celebration of this second fight spread, it was never mentioned who the winner was.